This video we're going to set up our cameras for doing some recording. So turn my camera on. I've got my screen facing out so I can see what's going on here. I'm going to hit the menu button and get our options up for setting our recording. So right now our movie exposure is set to auto. I'm going to leave that alone. All right, I'm going to bump over one. Recording size, and right now we're recording 1920 by 1080, and I'm going to leave that alone. But actually, I'm going to hit the set button just to show you what your options are. So you can record at 1920 at 30 frames a second, 24, or you can record at 1280 at 60 frames a second. All right, or we can change our resolution. I'm going to leave it at 24. This was the Hollywood standard, 24 frames per second, so I'm going to leave it there for now, and we'll talk more about that in class on the details of that. So if yours was not set to 24 frames, go ahead and set it to 24 frames. And exposure compensation, make sure it's in the neutral spot. We're going to leave the auto lightning optimizer. Take a look at custom white balance. Don't need to do that. All right, go back to our menu. So we'll leave those guys alone. Quality, we'll leave that alone as well. So let's just take a quick peek on your camera to make sure your exposure is in auto, your recording size is 1920 by 1080 at 24 frames, your compensation is at 0, and we'll leave those other guys alone. So we're ready to start recording. In order to actually record, let's take a look at these controls for a moment. You're going to need your camera to be on, obviously, and you're going to rotate this. There's a lot of settings. These cameras are used for photography, and most of these settings are all for photography. If we rotate all the way around till we see this little rectangle with the legs, which is supposed to represent a movie camera, we're going to set that to line up with the notch on the camera. And now this button right here with the red dot on it is going to start our recording. This is also going to show us that we're in our recording size, our exposure compensation is set, and we'll talk more about white balance. I'm getting a little warning that my battery is about to die. See if I can do a little recording before it dies. So in order to start recording, I hit the button and I get the little red dot, so it's recording right now. All right, if I want to stop recording, hit the button again. If I want to see that I did record something, I hit the play button, hit the set button, hit the set button again because it's in here if I want to fast forward or move around or do slow motion or something. So you can see that we've recorded a short bit of video. While I'm here, I want to talk a moment about focus on these cameras. So the autofocus feature is right here, but the autofocus for the video on these cameras is not great. We'll talk more about that later. But if you're going to use autofocus, you want to hold your button down so that it has an opportunity to focus in, and then start your recording. The best way to focus, though, is to switch to the manual focus, select the area that you want to be sharp. Now this camera also has a zoom on it, so that's not changing our focus. This inner ring is not changing our focus. It's the outer one right here. Whoops. There we go. Take a better look at that. So this is our zoom. This is our focus right here. And how well it's going to look on this screen here, but if I pull this guy, you can see that image come in and out of focus. So before you start recording, switch to your manual mode and make sure that your camera is in focus. All right. Again, we'll cover more detail in class.